get Jack Zeeble back this week?
Yeah, we do. He's been medically cleared and trained really well throughout the week. So, initially we were hoping it'd be a really short-term thing, and we're hoping it might be none or one. It turned into 3, but he's such an important player. And I've said before, the way he plays, we've got to protect him from himself at times. But now we're ready to unleash him at 100% fitness.
Daniel Wells?
No, Wells won't play. He played under a bit of duress last week. It was a good effort to get up to play, but he's pulled up sorer this week than he did the week before. So, someone of Daniel Wells' ability, with his top end speed and agility, he needs to be right, and he's not right, so we won't take him to Perth.
Is it a bone issue or a ligament in the foot?
No, it's neither. It's we've had every scan you can imagine. They're all clear, but he's still very sore. So we've got to get to the bottom of it. But it's definitely not a bony injury. The X-rays and the MRI and the CT scans are all clear. So it's as best we can tell at the moment. It's just bruising.
How did it happen, Brad?
He got stomped on. So and as is often the case with those things, get it stood on more than once in exactly the same spot. So. As I said, it was a good effort to play last week, but he's just not right this week.
Was it during last week's game or at training?
Training, yeah, he hurt it at training, but then hurt it again in the game. So and pulled up even sorer after the Collingwood game.
Will Joel Tippett come in to replace Scott Thompson?
Yeah, Tippett will come in and play in defence, and really we think it's a terrific opportunity for Joel. He's been ready to play senior football all year. He was very unlucky to miss round 1. And then with Grimer and Thompson and Hansen, Frito, those sorts of guys holding down those positions, it's kept Tippett out. So now an opportunity opens up for him, and we expect him to take it.
Phil Thompson was a bit unlucky to get a week for that.
Well, he didn't get a week. I think he probably got the match review panel probably got it right, and it should have been a reprimand. What's frustrating is that he's got carryover points. If that game had been played 6 weeks later, he wouldn't have any carryover points. So this is the frustrating part of the system with carryover points, and everyone gets confused as to what the actual penalty is. So we didn't think Scotty deserved a week, and he didn't get a week. But when you add in carryover points from an incident almost 12 months ago, which in and of itself wasn't worthy of a suspension, and you add them together, he ends up missing. So the system is what it is.
What will your instructions be this week if Brent Harvey gets Ryan Crowley tagging him?
Well, I mean, Boomer's been tagged for pretty much all his career, so he's as well equipped to take on that as anyone. Very rarely does he get nullified. You can only think of a couple of occasions throughout his career where he's been completely nullified. So there'll be a team approach. There'll be a specific role for Boomer if and when that happens, and I think forewarned is forearmed. We expect it to happen, and we've just got to make sure that we hold up our end of the bargain, and umpires are out there to do their job, but we can't worry about that.
We'll just worry about it. It was a colourful tribunal hearing, though, wasn't it? It wasn't your usual sort of tagging job.
Yeah. I mean, I think players get frustrated. I mean, taggers try and be all matey after the game, and expect the opponent to be the same. Well, there's going to be a fierce battle go on out there, and I've always been a big believer in what happens on the ground stays on the ground, but you don't have to be best mates afterwards either.
Is there bitterness between them?
Sorry?
Is there bitterness between them?
I don't think there's bitterness, but I wouldn't know. I mean, we're all fierce competitors. Ryan's a fierce competitor. 17 other clubs would love to have him playing for them as well. So I've got respect for what he does, and we've just got to make sure that we hold up our end.
If it heads down that path again, though, would you expect the umpires to jump on it a bit quicker than they did last time?
As per last week with McCaffer, I mean, we didn't approach the umpires about McCaffer last week. We're not going to approach the umpires about Crowley. They've got a job to do. They're professionals. What they do is up to them. We've just got to make sure that we're doing everything in our power to control the situation.
Majak back?
Yeah, Majak will play as well. Really happy to have him back, and it's been a slow build since a PCL reconstruction last year. Continuity's been the biggest challenge with Majak over his short career so far, and we're really hopeful. He's in good form, kicked 5 last week, and we're hoping this is the start of a prolonged campaign where he can get some continuity in his footy, and he can start to show people what he's really capable of.
What sort of role? Is it a key forward or backup ruck or both?
A bit of both. I mean, I think it's our forward structure last week didn't function anywhere near to the level that we expect. So he gives us a real X factor down there and real versatility, and it allows Drew to play other roles for us in game, whether it's backup ruck or to play as a genuine key forward. Majac's the type of player that gives us that flexibility.
You concerned with Drew's form?
Not at all, not at all. I mean, players who set really high expectations for themselves, and others set high expectations for them because they've been, really good players. And 250 games, he's been a very, very good key forward and an All-Australian key forward. So, with that level of performance comes expectation. But he took 8 marks last week and played centre half forward and had 2 or 3 shots at goal. So if he converted those, it would have been a very good game.
So Dor Brad comes in for Dan Curry, I presume?
Yeah, he does. Yep. I've just about given you our entire team.
You haven't read out the 22, so you can't be fined.
All you have to do is turn around and have a look at them. They're just out there.
Does Andrew Swallow play at the lower level this week?
He does, yeah. He'll play down at Geelong for North Ballarat, and he's really looking forward to it. He's got that sparkle back in the eye, and he's gone into a week, for the first time in a long time, preparing to play a game of footy. So he's really keen, and it's great to have him back.
How many does he need? Do you think 2 weeks back there?
I'll go down to Geelong and watch him on Sunday and try and get a feel for that. I think it's a bit of an intangible. We can't just put a set number on it. I mean, we can pull an arbitrary figure out of the air, but with someone like he's been training really well, and with someone like him, you would think that if he plays well and gets through unscathed, then he pretty much becomes available for selection. But we'll just watch him and see how he goes.
Seeing what happened with Chris Judd, does it make you a little bit more hesitant to bring him back too soon?
No, not really. I mean, Chris Judd was forced, was pushed, and that could have happened to anyone, I think. So, but there's no doubt that the more training you have under your belt and the more game time you have under the belt, the less likely you are to get injured. That's for sure. So we've got to make sure that we're really confident. But I think the key thing is you've got to look back, and even if a player gets re-injured, you've got to look back and say, with all the information you had available at the time, would you have made the same decision again? And that's what we'll be looking to make sure we do with Andrew.
Tempting to leave it until after the bye, round 9?
Yeah, it is. But I think that you're right or you're not. I mean, I don't think there can be too much grey. You've got to have the courage of your convictions and say he's either right to play or he's not.
You haven't beaten the Dockers in person since, I think, 2007. Is it the ground or the opponent that makes it so difficult to win over there?
Oh, gee, I mean, a lot's changed in that period of time, coaches, players. The ground's no problem. I mean, Patterson Stadium's been a hard place for a lot of teams to win, but we're really looking forward to the challenge. I mean, we hadn't beaten Sydney at the SCG for a decade up until 2 weeks ago, so we're looking to right a couple of those records.
Mick Moldau said last night on radio he's confused with the bump. It needs to be changed and looked at. You got thoughts on that?
Well, my opinion was it shouldn't have been changed in the first place, but clubs have only got themselves to blame. I mean, the question was clearly asked by Mark Evans late last year, should Lindsay Thomas have been suspended for his bump on Ben Reid in the Collingwood game? And Mark Evans told me that 80% of the clubs said that he should have been. So he said that if there's an accidental head clash, 80% of clubs said that they should be suspended. So you can't turn around now and say that, we don't like it. I mean, as a club, we were really strongly against that rule. If you bump and it's a fair bump and it's shoulder to shoulder and there's an accidental head clash, well, it's an accident. Players shouldn't be suspended for it. But the clubs have only got themselves to blame for that one.
Yet to beat Ross Lyon in 5 games, Brad. Is that sort of the defensive style pose an issue for you?
I don't see. I know that we talk about coach versus coach and all that sort of stuff, but I don't see it that way. I mean, I've got an enormous amount of time for Ross and the way he goes about it. I mean, we were really disappointed. Probably, 2 years ago at Etihad, we felt that we played really poorly. We had St Kilda on the ropes 3 years ago when we were a very immature team. So, the coaches set up the system and set up the structure, and Ross does that really well, and we've certainly got confidence in our system as well. So, out on game day, once the siren goes, it's up to the players to get the job done, and it's up to me to help them as much as possible.
What have you made about all the debate about the congestion in the game?
I think the game's in great shape. I think it's not just because it was Chris, but I tend to agree with what he said that you look at the best games, how good are they? I mean, do yourselves a favour, go back and look at footy 15, 20 years ago. It's not a patch on what it is today. So the game's in great shape. we focus too much on the poor games. You know, and there are poor games. There are always going to be poor games, but that doesn't mean there's a problem with the game itself.
Liam Anthony, I think he's out there as well. See,
You just spotted him, did you? Yeah. Yeah, he's in as well. Yeah. He'll come with us, and he's been in really good form in the VFL, and he's been pushing his claims for a while now. And so with Wells out, that creates another opportunity.